Okay. So, how has the environment here in St. Joe during your lifetime changed?
Well, I don't know if it has.
It hasn't.
You mean by environment, the weather, that sort of thing?
Weather, have they put any like big industrial buildings in, like maybe
Yes.
new cores and stuff?
Yes. SDI went in a few miles from here, um, which definitely changed the terrain a lot. I mean, because you got a big structure, you got a lot of scrap metal being hauled in and out of there. Um Semi traffic, which probably brings a little pollution with it.
And then semis travel, then you gotta have more road work because then
Right.
they're tearing up the roads too.
Constantly, we just had the road redone. Yeah. So you're seeing a lot of new construction, um, things like that, homes,
Um,
buildings.
Homes, buildings, SCI, and you have new core, which then
New
adds
core, right?
more to it. Hmm, maybe that one. Recently we've seen an increase in like ocean cleanups and landfill cleanups and such stuff like that. Prior to like the last 10 years, can you think of any like big movements to clean up the environment? Like,
Well, what I have noticed is landfills. It's harder and harder to find them open.
Mhm.
They've closed at least one that's fairly local, within probably 10 miles of here. Um, so now I think the biggest thing now is Defiance, which is another uh, hour away probably from here. So the, to get rid of trash anyway, it seems like it's more difficult. You almost have to hire a company or something to come in and bring a container and take it out that way.
and you guys burn trash, don't you? So you don't even,
We do burn some here, but you got cans and
yeah,
bottles and uh, any cleanup that we have, it's got to be disposed of. So we won't burn that stuff. So there is still things that have to go to the landfill.
In your lifetime, have you noticed any major changes for the sake of the environment? So, like, we have more state laws about um, preserving nature sites or anything. Has any of that been around here that you guys have noticed, especially with all your farms?
Well, we farm 5 different counties, 2 different states, Indiana and Ohio. And what I have noticed, pollutants, I won't say pollutants, it's not really pollutants, but fertilizers. In Ohio now is requiring a license to apply fertilizer to your fields.
This,
That's something that's just went into effect the last couple of years. So us as farmers have to go for some training and then apply for this license and then they issue it from the state. Uh, that's somewhat of a change. We have watersheds here, the Lake Erie, any waters that eventually end up in Lake Erie. Um, they're putting more attention, and that's probably one of the requirements that's kind of come for us farmers is to control the fertilizer applicants, making sure you're doing it properly.
does fertilizer include like the? I'm not very familiar farming like the ones that they spray over the top, herbicides or whatever.
Well, insecticides, herbicides, all that. We don't do our own,
Mm-hmm.
so it's all an outside firm does it for us, and they have to meet regulations that's sent down from the state. And so they do watch it, but it's not anything that I personally have to do because we hire an outside company to do it.
And oh, I guess you wouldn't. Because I was curious if it was different from state to state. Because sometimes you can have like a big overlap.
There is state to state different stuff. It's like I said, this fertilizer applications, we're not allowed to do it without this license in Ohio. Indiana, we can. So it does vary from state to state.
That's crazy. Visuals and structure. Have you personally lost any farms to structural changes, like any putting in roads or anything like that?
Yeah, we've, well, just here a year ago, they put in new electric lines, which brought in more power to this area through those electric lines. So there was some land that was acquired from us to put those lines in. We used to farm the ground at SDI, which is a steel mill. We farmed that farm, which we no longer farm because that went in. And at that time, they acquired, I believe, 800 acres for that facility.
800 acres?
800 acres, and they've acquired land since then. So it's changed. It kind of changed what we're used to out here, from where we were to what it is today.
If you were to own a farm next to like SDI or Nucor, would it be a less desirable farm? Would it be harder
Yes.
to farm?
I would be less desirable as far as probably resale unless they're interested, because nobody wants to see that plant. I mean, you wouldn't want to be a neighbor to it. I wouldn't want to be a neighbor to it, not live there. On the back side of that plant, you've probably never seen it, but they got a huge scrap area that they just dump scrap, and then that's what they use off of whenever they melt to make the new steel.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
It's not a very pretty sight.
Ooh, that would be pretty. Okay. I think that's all I needed. Thank you.
That's it.
Insightful.
Okay.